Yeah, so welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to yet another video. Yeah, in this video we're basically gonna be breaking down our week. So our week from Monday till yesterday. So it was a very, do I say choppy or do I say very aggressive week, because there was a lot of opportunities missed this week. But I did manage to take about 4 trades, but those 4 trades weren't 4 setups. It was about 3 setups. So the first setups I took was the 2 JPY pairs, which was CADJPY and GBPJPY. So yeah, let's get into those breakdowns, and then I'll take you through a trade I missed and also the gold trades that I took yesterday. So yeah, we're gonna start with CADJPY. So CADJPY, the reason for me taking this setup was that already we had this bullish momentum breaking this overall structure here. So, but that wasn't like the main reason. The main reason was because of this sweep here. So all these all the JPY pairs this week were like tapping into areas of demand, sweeping liquidity, so this was my reason. So price swept this low, and then after that sweep I just jumped on the 1 hour, because again it's the same setups it's the same setups that I tend to take. As the sweep of the 4 hour low, also there was a demand over there, and then price broke structure towards the upside. After that break of structure, price left this demand over here. So after that price tapped into the demand, and then I jumped on the 15-minute, whereby I was just waiting for a sweep and a break. So price tapping into this demand was also sweeping the Asia lows over here. So this was the Asia low. Price swept this with this week over here, and then price broke this structure over there. After breaking the structure, price left me this demand over there. Already this setup was aligning to be like an A+ setup. And then after this break of structure, price left this demand over here. But now I can't see on the channel. The thing that started confusing me was that price tapped into this demand over here. It tapped into this 15-minute demand. But now with price tapping this demand, it left very aggressively. And this aggressive push to the upside also swept liquidity on the left side. So I was a bit confused, but then I still was like, yo, this setup is good, because most of my confirmations are now in order. The only thing left is just the 5-minute breaker structure. So with that, I think I used this as my breaker structure, even though it was very aggressive. I used this as my breaker structure on the 5-minute, right? So this was my breaker structure on the 5-minute, and I wanted to take the setup as is from this tap over here. But then I was like, nah, let me just wait for some sort of sweep, just to be sure. So I was supposed to take the setup here, but then I waited for this sweep over here. Price did sweep eventually. But now another thing is that I was aggressive, and I told myself I'm going to take the setup anyway. So what was a mistake that I made, because if you look carefully, this is not a break over here. This is just a sweep. So price swept that, and I was like, okay, I'm taking this setup as is, because price had this demand over here, meaning that I took this setup without all my full confluences. So price then made me pay for my mistake, which then led to a minus 1.5% over here, because I went in with 1.5% risk to make 2.5%. So that was the first loss of the week. And the GBPJPY trade was also taken the same day. So as I said, the JPY pairs were all in an area whereby they were sweeping liquidity, or they were tapping in some sort of area. So here we also had a sweep. Here, and I was targeting basically these highs over here. These highs over here, because price did sweep, right? But now I was expecting for price to come sweep again and then continue to the downside. but then price had other ideas. So let's go through this one. Price swept here, right? And price was also tapping into this area over here, this fair value gap over here. Price was tapping into this area, and then I also jumped to the 1 hour for a 1 hour breaker structure. So that we did get. So price did break structure to the upside, forming this demand over here. This was the demand zone, and then after that demand zone got mitigated, we jumped in the 15 minutes, and same with the CADJPY. Price was sweeping liquidity when it was tapping into this 15-minute demand. So as you can see here, price had swept this low and this low, and this was the last low, which then was broken, not breaking, and left this demand over here with these equal lows there. So already this one too was a A+ setup, like it was an A+ setup pending. So price went, but then same with CAD again, price swept this low, this previous high over here on the left. But then again, I was confident with my setup. I was like, okay, if price is gonna sell off, it's gonna show me it's gonna sell off. And price had these for me. These lows over here were like, that's a lot of liquidity, and I could get a 1:2 quickly before price reversing. But then, as you can see now, price didn't do that. Price just continued with its intended direction, and yeah, we got clapped basically. We got clapped. So again, here, funny thing is that these setups are telling me that like the confluences are not fully ready, but I took the setups either way. So here, price didn't sweep this low. Sweep and then break. Price just tapped the 15 and then reacted towards the upside. And then I just regarded this as like liquidity, and this was my previous high. So price broke this for me. Instead of waiting for this break, I waited for this break. So price broke now this internal high and swept this external high, and then I entered my trade of this demand, which was the last candle down there. Price tapped me in. It looked like it was gonna move because the volume was nice on the 15, but then also stopped me out. So that was the setup. This was the setups on the JPY base, and yeah, man. The one setup I did miss, which was A+, was on CADJPY. But again, I don't want to make the video long, but I'm just gonna browse through the setup before I go into the long, the gold setup. So with this one, as you can clearly see, we had all the confluences. We had the sweep, we had the break, we had the tap, we had another sweep over here, we had a break, we had a mitigation of this fair value gap, we had a 5-minute break, and that was the entry. So this one was a full-on A+ setup, but then we didn't take it because it happened around 3 a.m. in the morning, so I was asleep at that time. So going into the gold setup, which was the last setup I took because the indices didn't give me my entry confirmations. This one was also a bit of a tricky one because we were at all-time highs, and you don't want to really short at all-time highs. But with my understanding was that, okay, we had these previous days liquidity highs, which we had taken, and then we had this 1 hour shift over here. So I'm going to show that to you now. So with this in mind, price sweeping all these highs over here, I was basically waiting for some sort of pullback to then continue with my longs. But then, yeah, man, let's just quickly go into this video, this breakdown. So again, price had this sweep. I think this was previous day high, and then this break on the 1 hour, leaving us this area of supply. So already it was also lining up to be a plus setup because it was starting to confirm for me that it's gonna go to the downside. So with that 1 hour left there, I waited for the 15 minutes to sweep and break. So 15 minutes did ideally do that. Price broke here, left this one here, but this one was the previous day's one, so I wasn't able to take this one. So price then swept these highs over here, these equal highs over here, sweeping them here and breaking structure towards the downside, was like, okay, this is gonna be a plus setup. I might have missed this one, but this one is lining up to be a good one. So after this sweep, price then broke, right, and left this fair value gap over here. So I waited for price to pull back to the fair value gap, which it did here, but then again I was asleep at that time. So by the time I got to the charts was around this time here. So what I saw was that, okay, price is in this fair value gap over here. Let me just put the fair value gap here. Price was at this fair value gap now. So this is actually where my first trade was. So price was at this fair value gap, and after this tapping this fair value gap, price right swept, broke. So now price was telling me, okay, it does want to go down, but now I'm just looking for entry. So with this setup, I was aware that we have this supply over here, which price could have did what it did exactly here. But then I was still confident that, okay, I'm gonna get a nice setup here because price is tapping into this fair value gap, broke structure to the downside, tapped into this 5 minute, and took this low again. So I took the setup as is over here. Took the setup went because I risked 1.5%. The setup went. I was running over what, 2.52%. Yeah, and then price stopped me out, tapping into this one over here. So which I was aware of. Like I wasn't surprised to see price take me out. But then I waited for price to then take this low again, which it did. It did take this low again with a break. So I was confident enough again to take the setup. So here I was just waiting for a rejection candle to take the setup. I didn't want to take the setup with all these blue candles. I just wanted to see some momentum shift. So I waited for this rejection candle, took the setup, and then I was stopped out. And that was like the last stop for the day, which was yesterday. So overall, I took a minus 1.5 and a minus 1. So that's 2.5. And this is one account. So I took these on one account. And then the JPY pays I took on my other two separate accounts. So I'm down 1.5 on my one step. I'm down also 1.5 on my other two step, and then with the Alpha Capital account, I'm down 3% with these trades. So yeah, man, it just goes to show that you should follow your plans at all times. And yeah, man, that's it for this breakdown. Hopefully you learned something, and yeah, don't forget to hit the like button and do what you're supposed to do.